Tú me encanta más que el chocolate, está pasada, todo está normal, pero contigo es anormal. Dame, ¿quién soy yo? El man que te vuelve loca.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Natalia and I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. So I'll give you a second. Okay, that song was actually the perfect segue into what I want to talk about today. That is my jam, like possibly my favorite song of right now. It's called Mocha by Lalo Ibrat. I don't know, but he's a Colombian artist. I want to like first give a disclaimer because I don't know if this video is going to come off like a little bit rantish or whatever. Like I'm literally just gonna flow off the top of my head and like whatever comes to my brain, honestly. So the reason that I say that that song was a good segue into what I want to talk about today is because Lalo Ibrat Ibrat, whatever it is, he's a up-and-coming Colombian artist, and Colombians within the Latino community have been regarded to have what I would say, me personally, is like the most proper dialect of Spanish. The only reason I say proper is because for me, when I hear them speak, I hear them fully pronounce the words the way that they're actually written, for the most part. Lalo Ibrat is the first example, like in my opinion, of a Colombian artist that in his music, like, doesn't pronounce the full word the way that they normally do. And this is a good example, this song in particular, because he did the remix with J Balvin, who's also Colombian, and the way that they pronounce things is so different. Like, it's really noticeable. So the first line of the song is, or the first line of the chorus is, tú me encanta más que el chocolate, te pasa, todo está normal, pero contigo es anormal. And you hear, like, in that, he drops the S in the words. So if you listen to the remix with J Balvin, when J Balvin starts singing it, it's tú me encantas más que el chocolate, te pasa, todo está normal, pero contigo es anormal. Like, you can really hear the pronunciation of the S. The reason I bring this up is because I came across this article, and it's an amazing like article. It's an amazing op-ed or whatever you want to call it, and it's from Respuesta media, the way that I would normally say it, and it's called Do Puerto Ricans Speak the Ghetto Version of Spanish? Now, this can be considered, I guess, like a follow-up to the video that I did called Puerto Ricans Don't Speak Spanish, which is something that I've gotten a lot of feedback on, honestly. And let me make one thing clear about that particular video. I obviously wasn't talking about the people on the island or that came here directly from the island, because obviously they speak Spanish. I'm talking about the first generation American born, second generation, third generation American born that have lost the language along the way. Now, I know that being that far removed from actually being born on an island where the native language is Spanish, it's bound to lose it. But my point was sort of along the lines of, there has to be that want, that need, that desire to learn the language, because while people consider themselves Puerto Rican, you need to speak the language at least a little bit to continue that on. Like, as you have kids and as you want to teach them about the culture, one of the main parts of the culture is speaking Spanish. So I was in no way trying to bash people that don't speak Spanish or whatever. That video was 100% encouragement on ways to learn Spanish or why you should know Spanish, which I think is super important if we want to keep our culture going, because Puerto Rico and United States are just getting closer and closer. Honestly, like, if people want to look at it differently, then that's fine. But I saw on the news the other day that 4% of Puerto Rico's population left the island and came to the United States after Hurricane Maria. Now, that's a lot of people. So if we want to continue that culture and continue our journey, you know, as Puerto Ricans, as Boricuas, we should have that big focus on learning the language and knowing the language and being able to teach the language. So that being out of the way, this article goes very, very in depth with why people say that Puerto Ricans speak the ghetto version of Spanish. Now I'm talking about Puerto Ricans on the island, like, you know, Puerto Rico. I have a lot of feelings about people that say that Puerto Ricans speak the ghetto version of Spanish, because there are reasons behind why Puerto Ricans speak the way that they do, and this article goes very in depth about that, very in depth about the Africans and the Tainos and just the way that they spoke their native languages before it was Spanish. Like the Taino language as a whole, they were a little bit, I don't want to say soft-spoken, but they did shorten their words the way that us Puerto Ricans do. So going back to the beginning about dropping the S, which is something that's huge in the Puerto Rican Spanish language, we don't eliminate the S in the beginning of a word, because that doesn't make sense. Sabes que, you wouldn't say abe que. Like, no one says that. So the S at the end of sabes, you would eliminate when you can just shorten it a little bit, if that makes sense. So it would be sabes que, would be, I guess, the proper full pronunciation of that sentence. You would say sabe que if you're from Puerto Rico, most likely. Now there are people that do pronounce the entire word, but most of the people on the island, just due to the accent, will say sabe que. It would be like vámonos para allá. Like we just clip the word. So vámonos, obviously, like I just said, the S would go away. And then para, we would eliminate the RA and it would become pa. And then allá would be ya. Vámonos para allá. Like it merges that last pa and allá, because you can just merge it together. The last word of pa is A and the first word of allá is A. So vámonos para allá. It's just the way that we speak. I think that if everyone can read this article, we'll get a better idea of why Puerto Ricans speak the way that they do, and know that we do not speak ghetto. Another video that I'm gonna link down below that I found hilarious is, and I've personally never heard this, let me know in the comments down below if people have told you that Puerto Ricans pronounce Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico. Never heard it in my life, but it's a thing. They mention it in the article, I believe, and in that video, it's hysterical. It's a comedian named Carlos Santos, which if you're, you know, around my age or a little older, you may remember Me TRL when MTV cared about the Latino community and had MTV Tres, and he was the host on that show. He's hysterical. He basically is, like, a part of his set is talking about Puerto Ricans saying Puerto Rico and not Puerto Rico the way that it's supposed to be said. Let me let you know right now, Puerto Ricans do not say Puerto Rico. Like I said, I've never heard it in my life. I'm sure majority of you haven't heard anyone say that. No one says that. The R in a lot of words in Spanish in Puerto Rico becomes an L. Verdad becomes verdad. Eso no es la verdad. Eso no es la verdad. Like, the R just translates into an L. Now, this article points out that a lot of Africans, because it wasn't native to their language, couldn't roll the R. So it became a little bit softer in the word. So verdad was just, I guess, easier for them to say than verdad. So the R in Spanish is normally a r, like a little bit of a r. I feel like so silly saying this, but it's the truth. The R, the rolling of the R, is there when it needs to be there, like the word carro, which is used as the example. Carro, C-A-R-R-O. No one says carro. No one says caro, which is a different word. You would say carro. Back to that, I told you this was gonna be a total rant, but back to that stand-up bit that I'm gonna link below. In Puerto Rico, no one says that, okay? But I will admit, I'm sure a lot of Puerto Ricans will admit this too, because I've heard a lot of people say it too, is that the Puerto part, we do change the R into an L. So it will be Puerto Rico. Like the Rico is still the enforcement or the enforcing of the R. So it's not Puerto Rico, it's Puerto Rico. There you go. Another letter that Puerto Ricans tend to drop out is the letter D. So instead of saying enamorado, we would say enamorado. Ella está enamorado de mí. Or like one of my favorite Puerto Rican dishes, pollo guisado, is pollo guisado, okay? Guisado, G-U-I-S-A-D-O. But we say guisado. O habichuela guisada. Guisada, guisada. That's just how we speak. And I don't think that Puerto Ricans deserve to be shamed for not speaking proper Spanish, because that's just the way we speak Spanish. Like, you go to other countries, you go to Dominican Republic, you go to Cuba, you go to Venezuela, you go to Nicaragua, you go to Panama, you go to different places, and the pronunciation is gonna be different. The way that they speak is gonna be different, because everywhere has its own native way of speaking. To people that like go and like learn Spanish in Spain, let's say you studied abroad in Spain, they may find it hard to understand Puerto Ricans when we speak Spanish, or Dominicans when they speak Spanish, because of the choppiness and the words. But it's not fair to shame any country because of the way that they pronounce things. It's always gonna be different. I mean, look at England and the United States. Obviously, England came and colonized this whole area, and we speak English because of England. With that being said, the reason we speak English is because of them, and it's different. Like, you go to, there are parts of Britain and people that I've heard speak on TV that they're speaking English, and I have trouble understanding everything that they're saying. Why? Because pronunciation is different. Words may be a little bit different, and that's okay. Like, it's totally fine to speak your native language, Spanish, English, Korean, Portuguese, whatever it is. It's okay to speak it differently, because at the end of the day, it's your language and it's beautiful. Now, I'm sorry that was a little bit rantish, but I think that this is something that everyone should read. I think it's something that everyone should know, and it should be respected either way. Like, I am totally for embracing your culture, in case you couldn't tell. That's it, guys. Again, super sorry if this was rantish. I just needed to jump on camera and talk about this with you guys. I hope that you hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post a video. And give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below what you want to see next. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.